Hello and welcome to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
Two Therapists and a Microphone is a show about mental health, relationships, and social issues that personally affect you. We broadcast live every Monday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Our Black Media Network.
Harrison and I are two licensed therapists with decades of clinical experience, and we really want to hear from you. We want you all to tell us about your situations and any dilemmas and stuff that you're going through in your life. So please send us your questions by visiting www.twotherapist.com and click on Ask Two Therapists at the top of the page. I think you can also probably do the same thing by sending us direct messages on
You sure
Facebook and
can. I
Instagram.
get
So
those too.
if that's too
Absolutely.
much for you, just shoot us a message on social media. We do check those.
Absolutely. So that's you like Dr. Aisha just mentioned, we are two licensed, that's a key word.
Right.
Licensed psychotherapists. Like that means we know what we're doing. And because there's some other folks out there, I watch them and they're trying to give some relationship advice. They've never been married, they're not licensed, they never finished any type of graduate program. I don't even know if they went to college, and some of the advice that they're giving people sounds more like entertainment.
Well, I'm definitely entertained by it. I'm entertained.
I'm not. I'm not. But I have to turn it off sometimes. But today, this is still June of 2023, and we're here to highlight primarily Black fathers. For Father's Day, we're going to celebrate it all damn month of June. And we got a email from the website from somebody. And like I mentioned last time, in order for us to help the brothers out, the Black fathers in particular, we sometimes have to focus on the things that aren't so good. We're going to have to correct some things. So we're also here to support you and help guide you on the right path. So that's just to give you a little warning about the story we're about to hear. And let Dr. Aisha take it from there.
Yeah, because whatever the information is, I'll say depending on what it is, Harrison is probably going to be the one who's going to present it to you nicely, and I'm going to present it to you like everybody else wants to present it to you. But either way, it's going to be presented to you.
I don't know.
Oh well, we'll see. All right, so we have a message from she refers to herself as Melissa, female, age 46, in the Marietta, Georgia area. Background of history: ex-husband and I are divorced over 10 years ago. He remarried and recently got divorced again.
Mm.
I am in a 2-year relationship planning a future together. Recently, my uninvolved ex, with our 3 children, 18 female, 18 senior, 16-year-old male, a sophomore who's a 13-year-old girl, and a 7th grader. Let me back up. I'm trying to figure out how to best explain this the way she put it here. But her uninvolved ex, and those were the ages and genders of her 3 children, took her back to court for custody
Oh,
of the younger children to live with him.
oh,
She
wow.
goes on to say, I am planning on having a graduation get together for my oldest at my boyfriend's house, and my ex is not going to be welcome.
Okay.
We never had a relationship that was amicable. He still continues to lie, manipulate, and owe funds to me. I know it's not about me, but I gave him the option to have a party on a different day, and he was not happy with that and said it's his parenting weekend and that our younger kids then would not be able to attend, and he was going to have a party the same day. I
Oh,
hate putting my daughter in the middle. Am I wrong for not having him attend? So, synopsis: they have 3 children together. One is 18. He's taken her back to court for custody of the 2 youngest. And the graduation weekend, I'm assuming if the weekend is on his weekend, she does not want him at the party she's having because it's going to be at her boyfriend's house. And so he's
mhm.
like, well, the kids, it's my weekend. The kids will be with me and they just won't be at the graduation party. So her question is, am I wrong for not wanting him there or for not having him there? And I have a lot to say, so I'm going to let Harrison start.
Yeah, this is actually the first time I'm hearing it. I decided not to read it on email, so I don't know. I think there's a bigger question besides, am I wrong? Am I right? This is I would explore the dynamics between you and your baby daddy. Now, you married him, you had the kids, and I'm not blaming anybody for the state of your affairs right now. But I think there needs to be some more priority placed on the two of you working things out for the sake of the kids. I that's what I would suggest. Not no one's wrong or right. You're entitled to have a party. I don't see anything wrong with it for your son. The dad's not invited, but perhaps the guy. You know him. That's your baby daddy. That's your ex-husband. You knew how he was going to respond, to you having a party on his weekend. I think I would have encouraged you to try to work this out early in advance, try to smooth things out because you still got to co-parent, those other two younger kids. And my God, it's been like what she said, they got divorced 10 years ago.
Yes, 10 years ago.
So this
And they've never had an amicable relationship.
I
Like they always hated each other.
all that. So there is a side of me that wonders, she was damn if she did, damn if she didn't. It didn't matter. I would have suggested, talking to the baby daddy, that's what I'm gonna call him, the ex-husband, well before graduation time and work out a plan on what they're gonna do so that their son can be happy and satisfied and not embarrassed about things. But we didn't do that. We didn't do that at all because it also sounds like you poured some fuel on that wound and it got irritated. So that's my first initial take on it. We could have approached this a lot differently.
Mm-mm. No, if the differently she could have approached it, if it were me, would have probably possibly been a tad more volatile or let me back up. One
Okay.
thing that we're missing is that to me there's too much going on already. He's taking her to court for custody of the two kids.
Yeah, I'm
So already
surprised by
you
that.
can't say anything to me. For me, because there's already a court case open, let's just go ahead and have this addressed in court right quick. Let's get something written up so that you can't have the
To
two
expedite
youngest
things.
kids.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You can't have the two youngest kids during the weekend of the graduation because this guy is trying to control the graduation party and saying if I can't come, which God trust me, nobody wants you there. She
That's
don't
why
want you
that's
there.
why he wasn't
It's
invited.
her boyfriend's house. Why do you want to be there? Her family doesn't want you there. The 18-year-old might not want you there either. I would like to get a little more information about that. But why would you want to try to force yourself into a party of people who don't like you?
So you believe he's doing it out of spite. He knew.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so he said he's
Okay.
gonna have his own party where nobody's gonna come. Nobody's gonna come to your party,
Yeah.
guy. Your mom might be there because she's doing her best to try to remain
Yeah.
neutral. You have a bunch of people probably who you think are your friends who ain't think about they haven't thought about you or your kids at this point. They're not thinking about them again. Your second ex-wife probably isn't coming right now. Like everybody's keeping their hands off of you. You got too much going on. They're not coming to your little funky party.
So I hear what you're saying. Let me make sure I get it. So I acknowledge the mom, Melissa, I think is her name.
Yes.
She may not she may not have put energy in trying to avoid this, but what I'm also hearing is that the baby daddy, the divorced husband, the ex-husband, he's acting more like a child in this
Right.
situation.
I think that it's important for Melissa and her boyfriend to be able to set their boundaries. It makes no sense for her ex-husband, who we are currently having court issues like with, to be at her boyfriend's house, her boyfriend of 2 years.
Yeah.
You just want to start a fight. You're gonna come and he's gonna come and he's gonna say something stupid. He's going to try to pick a fight, and then the whole day is going to be ruined for the 18-year-old. Is a daughter
Yeah.
for the 18-year-old daughter. So instead, he says, if I can't come and ruin the day that way, I'm going to try to ruin the day by keeping her two youngest siblings from being there as well because it's my weekend.
Yeah, the question I would have if I was able to talk to them, where are the adults in this situation? Where
It's
where
not him. It's not baby
where
daddy.
are I get that he's more of a child,
Hmm.
and it would be great if this black man, I don't know, this father um would have taken a higher road and become a little bit more mature for the sake of his kids, for God's sakes. That's the disappointing part right there. I'm trying not to place blame. I guess you're right. I'm trying to give the nice approach.
How do you take somebody to court to try to take their kids and then expect them to let you come to their boyfriend's
I
house?
don't know if we know
Like,
the whole
don't expect to be in my space.
because you know
Expect
what?
that whenever you come close enough to my hand, is going to make contact
I
with you.
see. Oh, take heed. What would be great, if all of them could attend the same party, regardless of the location, for the sake of the kids. That's the optimist within me that I would have encouraged, you know. But what it sounds like, there is a narrative here that the ex-husband cannot do that. He's not capable of doing that. That he's going to be spiteful and he's trying to sabotage everything. I'm not quite sure why, you know, because it looks like he has a bad track record, you know, with families and wives. But that's something that is disappointing with the story. um it would have been great if we had a happy ending where they all go to the damn party. I've seen that before. You know, the ex shows
Eventually.
up. Yeah, the ex shows up with the new boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever, and they all get together for the sake of the kids.
Mhm.
I have seen that before, but apparently that's not going to happen here. I'm not ready to put all the blame on the ex-husband because there is another person who plays a role here, but he is definitely sabotaging things. That is for sure.
I'm not even wanting to call it blame so much as the logical consequence of taking somebody to court to try to take their kids. The logical consequence is they don't invite you to group or partnering things anymore. I know a lot of families, myself included, who will have joint parties, joint birthday parties, joint celebrations, and all of
Yeah, I've
that. But
been to
that
some.
that takes time.
Hmm.
That's never well. Some people they break up amicably or they have this stuff in court orders, but if it's not in there, it takes some years to cultivate for not just forgiveness, but peace.
Cooperation.
Yeah,
Yes.
cooperation. That's where
Yep. Yep.
cooperation in a decent co-parenting relationship takes time. And sometimes it can be great and something happens and it goes bad again. Then we work back up to it being great. And then sometimes it goes bad again.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's a more volatile situation for them to be forced to be around each other, knowing that they hate each other. In this moment, they hate each other.
I could
Anything
tell.
could happen.
I could tell this the Melissa person
I
doesn't
hate him
have.
for Melissa. I don't
I
even
could
know him, and
tell
I hate
too.
him on behalf of
I'm
Melissa.
not hating anybody. I want a happy outcome, especially for the high school graduate. You know,
Yeah.
so let's dig a little bit deeper into this, and we can throw out some theories.
Okay.
Perhaps like
Hmm.
how did the ex-husband, get to this point? What has motivated the Melissa, the woman who wrote us, to exclude the husband? How did they get to this point? That's what I want to talk about, and so we can help our audience to look at some warning signs and try to avoid a situation like this. This is just horrible. I feel bad for the high school graduate.
I
I don't
know,
even
right?
I
Because
don't even know the
I already
person.
have a whole narrative in my head for how it came to this
So
point.
let's start with the wife, the ex-wife Melissa, and how did she get here? You know, let's start with that.
18 years ago, she was married to a man.
In love,
Hmm. And it didn't work out.
and so she's young too.
10 years ago, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they were together for a minimum of 8 years, possibly more, but they were together almost a decade.
So they got married at college age,
She's 46, so I would say 30, late 20s,
late
maybe out.
20s.
Okay. Mhm.
That's right. That's right. You're correct. Okay, that's right. Okay. Yeah, something happened because they had 3 kids,
Right. Okay. So
and
they
so
they they used to like each other
they did.
a lot.
Obviously, they like something about each other.
Okay. Well, it kept them together for a minute, and then and then it didn't work out. Uh, and whatever he did in that marriage, he maybe did in the second marriage. But now
Yeah.
he's all alone.
Yeah, and
She's
it
been
sounds like the wife, the ex-wife, is trying to cut him out of like
just a graduation party.
the celebration. He wasn't invited. I get it.
Mhm.
He owes her money. I saw that, and it sounds like he really wasn't there throughout the 10 years.
She said uninvolved.
Uninvolved. That is right. So
Hmm.
that's what fueled her to plan the party, the graduation party, without the dad. So I
Hmm.
sort of get that now. I'm just wondering if she thought about other options. Did she know how he was going to react? That's what I would ask her.
Of course she did. Now this is where I'm in line with where you were going with that, Harrison. And this would be the what I would tell her.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is, especially if he's uninvolved, he's punishing the two youngest kids because
Yeah.
it's their It's his weekend and they can't elect not to go. So,
I see.
my answer from someone who just had a child graduate from high school, let me tell you, there are plenty of graduation parties the weekend of the graduation. Feel free to move yours to the next weekend. Okay. People
Yeah.
will appreciate it. I was going to like two, three, four graduation
Hmm.
parties in one day. I would have loved to move mine to, well, we had ours on a Thursday, which was great. No one else had their schedule for a Thursday, and people
Hmm.
appreciated that. But
Yep.
if someone else had one the following weekend, I would have attended.
Yep.
And if this woman were to have hers on the following weekend, the children will be able to be there. You can still leave your ex-husband out, and people will have had a week to rest from the other graduation parties. Your kid might wind up with more money and more
Yeah, so
gifts.
I like that. So thinking logically about it, like having it on a weeknight, having it on a Thursday night or Friday night, maybe a week after graduation instead of the weekend, have it on a Thursday because I'm pretty sure she had to know that the jerk that he is, she knew that, and she knew that was his weekend. I'm not saying
Hmm.
it's wrong or right, but we got to make decisions sometimes that are best for our kids.
Hmm.
So but she went ahead and moved head forward with her plans to have the graduation party on a Saturday when it sounds like the joint custody agreement stipulates that he has the kids on the weekends.
Hmm.
So I like to look at all sides of the story. you
Well, I
know
mean, another thing, I also see that if she had family coming in from out of town, it may have been difficult for her to move it to another
I
weekend.
see.
But like we just said, a weekday. Now, here's the part where there was maybe a little sprinkle of petty, just maybe on her part.
Okay.
Have the party at my boyfriend's house
I saw.
because we already know he can't come to the
I
boyfriend's
saw
house.
that. I saw that because when you read it, I was reading it with you. I said, "Why is it at the boyfriend's house? Does he have a huge house
Like,
with a
can you get
pool?"
in the event center and ask ex-husband, does he want to pay for half the event center or sit out
So
or
there's a part of
somebody
me. We're gonna talk about the
else?
husband, the ex-husband in a second, but there's a part of me that, like you, believes she was playing some type of petty role in this. I'm convinced she
It's
knew.
subtle petty though, where she could feign ignorance. Like, what did I do? You all know he has a huge house, and like you said, maybe he has a pool. It's set up
I
like
don't know.
Hawaii, and this is the
Petty's like a
best
light
place to
switch. It's
have
either on or it's off. So and you may dimmed it just a little bit, but she played a role in this too. I'm not blaming her. I'm not blaming her. But I truly believe as adults, especially parents, we have to be a little bit more savvy with these things to avoid embarrassing the kids. It can be difficult at times, and we got to jump through some logistical hoops. Sometimes, but that would have been one way. I like what you did, what you said about just having it on a Thursday. She knew that was his weekend. She
Yeah,
knew
she
he
know.
was a jerk.
And she
You
knew
know.
he was gonna say no. Like you said, she knew he was a jerk. You already knew he wasn't gonna agree to you keeping the kids on the very important weekend that was
Yep.
already his and you not inviting him.
I hear it. They may have had family coming in out of town. That was the best. I get it. I acknowledge all of that. However, mom, in the story, we could have made some different decisions to avoid this outcome. It's not your fault. I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not blaming you, but you got to work with the jerk. And when you got to work with a jerk, you gotta be elaborate with some of your
You gotta
plans.
be creative. The youngest kid is 13, so you only have a half more decade to deal with them. You can be
Gotcha.
creative for 5 more years.
So, mom, that's our uh, tips for
Yeah.
you. But the graduation may have taken place already, but that's just something to help you out because you got two more right back to back. And for the listeners out there who are in similar situations, just think about it. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be your way. It's just a graduation party. Call them up. Hey, I know we can't stand each other because I'm holding my gun right now talking to you, but we're gonna have to work this out.
Well, you made a good point at the beginning, or rather, end of me reading that note from the listener, and that was be proactive.
Yeah.
You could have pre-planned. So considering that the majority of graduations are over now, some of you have children who are going into 12th grade this year or who
Yep.
will be graduating from
Yep.
college. Start making a plan now.
Yep.
whatever county you live in, their academic calendar has been posted.
Yep.
They
That's
have
true.
already told you what day graduation is going to happen. Start making your plans now. That plan might be that you need to go ahead and go to court and have a judge to say that you get the
Yep.
weekend after graduation. So, in a year, you don't even have to deal with that. That plan may
Good point.
be that you go ahead and put a down payment on an event center so that you can be paying for it over the year. Or that you and your ex start doing some co parent coordination now so
Yep.
that maybe you all can get along in a year. But
Well,
also
I'm,
ask the
I'm just
kid what they
asking,
want.
avoid the embarrassment. That's
Yeah,
it.
ask the kid what they want to, because
That's a
part
great thing.
of that is, although they're 18 and their prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed still, you want to respect their boundaries and their autonomy. And they
I
may
agree.
very well say, I don't want that person there, or I do want that person there, or they might say who. Because Harrison, I
Yep.
can't tell you, I could tell you a few, but there are so many similar issues that I saw in the past month, just from my kid having friends, or my friends having kids that are graduating,
Yep.
where one the child's mother lived with her mother. They all, it was a multi-generational house, nice
Okay.
size house though, so there's space.
Okay.
But when the child graduated, the mother invited her father to the graduation party at her mother's house. And despite the fact that they've been divorced for 30 something years, grandma was like, absolutely not. And he can't come. And now that you've disrespected my boundaries, you need to find you somewhere else to live in the month. Because
Damn.
apparently, right,
Damn.
because apparently you forgot whose house this is.
Damn. Was that Medea?
She
Damn.
was real nice about it, but she's like, look, it might be time for us to go ahead and separate, because you forgot whose house this is. I've seen others where so for my child's graduation, you had to have tickets to get in. So if you weren't getting along well enough with the mother to get a hold to the ticket to get
I
into the
see. Yep.
graduation, you did not get to watch your child walk across the stage.
Yeah, because I
You
was
can't just
wondering.
show up.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering, did the dad attend the graduation?
Depends.
Is what I was wondering. All this hoopla over the party. What about the damn graduation? So you bring up some good points. I like that. Plan in advance, and be creative with it. And also, I'm also familiar with talking with some clients, that when they're going through divorce and they have to do a co-parenting plan, custody agreement. I think the holidays visitation
Mhm.
sometimes is a part of it, and birthdays. And who's going to have the kid when. It sounds like we may need to negotiate graduation. To add
And
to
that's
that.
something I have never seen in there, but you can add whatever you want to your divorce order. Like
Yeah.
you said, we see every holiday. We see random holidays that are in other people's things, like Easter. We have spring break. We
Yep.
have
Yep.
summertime. You could separate it up and put some
You sure
breaks
can.
in there.
And I know couples who have done that, but I never thought about including graduation.
Nobody thinks that far ahead. When the child is
So,
5, they aren't
but
thinking what are going
obviously
to
we
be our
see
rules
what
for
could happen.
graduation.
So that's a note out to our listeners out there. So let's talk about homeboy. Let's
I don't, come on, let's talk about him
I
then.
want to
See
help.
where this goes.
I want to help the brother out. I do, because I smell the pettiness.
Mhm.
I smell it. You are not the man you were meant to be. If you're creating these extra hoops to try to hurt the mom, your ex-wife, whether and involving the kids and ruining this graduation ceremony, I don't know if you're prepared for the consequences of that. The kid
Yeah.
is graduating. You're really putting a wedge between you two because of your behavior, trying to be selfish, and sabotage this whole thing for your kid. That's what I want you to do. Really look at yourself in the mirror, whatever you got, pull up your phone, whatever, and ask yourself, is this the dad I want to be? Is this how I want my kids to know me? Fighting with their
Especially your
mom?
two youngest children, you're trying to punish the mother because of her not allowing you to come to a graduation party, but you're actually punishing the two younger kids who at 13 and 16 are going to remember this, that they
Yes.
couldn't be there, and they're not going to blame mom for not letting you come. They're going to blame you. at a minimum, let them be there for a couple of hours, and
And
then
he
you
may
come
have
pick them
already
back up.
lost the 18-year-old senior who just
Probably.
graduated. I think you lost her.
Okay, the
I
16-year-old is just waiting for her chance or his
Yeah, yeah,
chance
and
to be
depends
gone
on
too.
how close the 18-year-old is with the other two siblings,
Hmm.
because they're gonna take sides and they're paying attention to this. That's the part that really surprised me, the length that you're willing to go to cause this much disruption for your kids.
Yeah.
Why can't you just make it about them? I would have even encouraged them, hey, lay back, sit back. Let them have that party. You are not attended. Show your kids what it's like to be a grown ass man who is secure and confident. And then the following weekend, you take them all out. You throw your own party.
He said he was going to have his own party. Can your party not wait,
Yeah,
sir?
that's
Or
how
you know
he.
what? Outdo her. Take them,
You can do that
take them
too.
on a trip. Take them to Mexico to
Take
celebrate the
Cabo San
graduation.
Luca. That seems to
I
be a
mean,
popular
you should
place right now.
have some money saved up since you haven't been paying your child support. So take that money and take them on a trip.
But he could have made some other decisions that would have been helpful with that, because he could have turned out to be the bigger person, like you said,
That's too much.
and show appreciation for his kids. Do something that they're gonna remember when they're older in age.
Mhm.
Do something to make them go, "That's my daddy." He made sure my sister was taken care of. My mom's house and his house. But that's not what happened. You may be painting yourself into a corner, pinning yourself into a corner where they're considering you to be like a monster. You
Yeah.
know, you're not a friendly person. You're not going to help out. As a matter of fact, when you step into the picture, you cause chaos. You know, so that's what I would want homeboy to think about. The narrative that you're creating with your kids.
There is an even bigger narrative that he has created by trying to take custody of teenage children. Unless they have requested to change households, number one, the judge is going to take their opinion into account. They're going to say, do you want to live with your mom or your dad? 13 and 16.
Yeah, and this is not
Um,
helping. And this is not
but
helping.
it is like that is the biggest slap in the face for you to try to take someone's children from them. And I almost said to try to take a woman's children, but it's the same slap in the face when you try to keep a man from seeing his kids.
Doesn't matter. That's right.
That's the
That's right.
biggest, the meanest thing you could do to somebody is to try to take their children, and the steps that you take to do that include, oh, they're crazy, they need to take a psychological evaluation, and or you bring up everything they told you they ever did back when y'all were in love, and they told you about that time they went to jail when they were 22, and you bringing that up in court when somebody is 46. Like,
They do that.
things get so ugly.
They do.
And you end up not getting what you want. All you've done is created chaos and more resentment and anger.
Yeah. So I'm convinced you can do better than this, and I encourage grown men to be men. And I don't know if he was ever taught or he was ever shown how to be a man, to stand there so that your kids will admire you and go to you when they need help. They go to the mom too, but you're just demonstrating you're just as young as they are. You're
You're
like,
no longer the cool parent.
yeah, he's not the responsible, caring parent. And I know you may not have had a blueprint. I've ran into those clients all the time. They don't know, they don't have a clue. But at this age, I'm assuming he's in his late 40s too. It's time to stop acting like a damn kid.
Mhm.
Do what's best for the kids, even if you got to take a hit. Even if you got to sit at home by yourself doing your kids' graduation party, plan the next one next week. Just like Dr. Aisha said, I would rather you do that, be the hero that you were meant to be to your kids. The marriage didn't work out twice, and so you
Right.
don't have a good track record. Let's
Mm-mm.
save your relationship
Now,
with
see,
your
I didn't say
kids.
that. Dr. Harrison said that. That's
I
what
said it.
I'm in agreement. You don't have
I
a
may be
great track
nice about it, but I tell
record.
you the truth.
I'm just mean about it. So you already have a lot going on in your life. You are creating more drama in your life by messing around with Teenagers, you don't think a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old can run away from your house if they want to? They be
No,
hiding
they can
out
set
there.
them up.
That's what I used to see all the time when I worked with teenagers. Kids just be like, bet, I know how to leave.
Yep,
I'll be
yep,
back. The police aren't going to look for me. I'll be back before the police will do anything, and you'll just be mad about it. And I
yep,
dare you to try to hit me about it. You're
yep.
just
That's what I've
creating
seen. The
a
kids, they
snowball.
hate
You have
that
no
parent
right.
so much, and they may do something and piss them off, and they turn that phone on or that webcam, and it's a live stream, and the world will see you as the monster, and your
Hmm.
kids set you up. I have seen that, but brother man, you have created this environment. You have created that type of environment where it would make them feel comfortable doing something like that. I hope nothing like that
I
happens.
mean, I'm just thinking, like, how dare you think you're going to insert yourself into a graduation party after you try to get full custody of someone's kids? Like,
What does that
stand
sound
down,
like?
sir.
Yes,
Stand
that's what I
down.
meant to say earlier. Stand down. So what does that sound like? What does that sound like? His action.
Um,
A 5-year-old
yeah.
at the playground.
I,
You
I
know.
take I take something from you. Like, I snatch your ball, and now that you want your ball back, I'm gonna hit you.
Yep.
I'm gonna fight you for wanting your stuff
Yep.
back.
Yep. 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 So I'm gonna hit you. So he's the bully trying
Hmm.
to make other people mad because he's mad. He can't have his way instead of taking a mature route. I just want you, sir, to think about that path that you're on. There's another one out there.
I
You know,
promise.
let's not be that little 5-year-old on the playground. Now you're mad. You're gonna go hit somebody, you know, and storm off like a little kid. So that's what I have to say about that. It's unfortunate. I wish these two could have worked things out. I hope people listening are getting some good tips and ideas
And
how
start planning.
start.
If this is you coming up and you already know that your situation might look something like that, go ahead to AVVO, find you a good family court attorney and
Okay.
get some new information put into your court order, so you won't have
Yeah.
these issues
And the
next
challenge
time.
that I have for parents out there who are co-parenting and they're not with the kids other parent, you know, consider taking a loss every now and then, you know, regarding these celebrations. You know, if it's not in that divorce decree, I don't know how you're going to fight it, but I would rather you sit at home by yourself that night and plan an amazing weekend the following weekend.
Because you can always outdo them. You don't have to fight them. Let them do what they do,
Yeah, because it's
so
all
that
about the
you don't
kid.
end up looking bad to the kid, and then you
Yeah.
just do your own thing and make it better.
Yeah, and to some of the women out there, I know the guys are jerks, and I'm using a term so I don't have to, so I don't cuss.
Yeah,
But
because there's some different words I like to use,
that's
but
some
we'll
other.
stick
I
with jerk.
know you got with those jerks though. You got with them, you know. So they're yours, you know. But at the same time, you're gonna have to work with them, and you can't make them be something that they're not. And if you know what to anticipate from them, let's find a creative way to work around that so you can get the outcome you want.
Well, so there's a better way to say that, because I say
Okay.
you don't have to work with them. I say you try your best to work with them, and when you can't, you work around them.
Okay.
But you get what you need. I would
Okay.
love to work with you, but if you make that difficult for me, I will work around you.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I hope that was a good topic. I'm glad that one came through. I was getting a little hot. Well, that was so. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And when I asked the thing that I came up last week, uh, anything you want to share with the audience about a lesson that you've learned this past week? And you can go first because I may not have one.
Yes, there is a lesson I learned this past week, and that is pay attention to what's not said. People always say pay attention to what's said. And this week I learned pay attention to what's not said. If you ask someone a three-part question and they answer two parts of it, pay attention to why they didn't answer that one part and let that be your answer.
Absolutely, I like that. And this past week, I also learned a lesson. It's an old one. I have to continue reminding myself. You know, when things don't go your way, you're trying to make something happen. Just focus on you. Don't even think about the other party or the other individuals. You know who you were trying to do something with. Focus on you, and then you eventually get what you want. But as long as you think about people outside of you who don't even want to be in your circle or who are not in you have excluded them from your circle, then you're taking the focus off you and achieving your goals. So that's what I got to say about that.
I like
So
it. I like it.
I like that a lot. So you guys, we've been talking tonight about co-parenting, and high school graduation. It's that time of the year. And what do you do when your ex-spouse is a jerk? So we had a lively discussion about it. I want to thank you guys for listening. You've been listening to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
And we will see you guys next week, Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. See you then.